Hello. Since everybody is muted, okay, good. I'll assume that everybody else can hear me too. Thanks for stopping by tonight, guys. We really appreciate everybody's presence here. Oh, we've got a couple more people in the waiting room. This will be a relatively short business meeting, and then Ms. Reed, our new counselor through communities and schools, will talk about CIS. Some of you are probably familiar with that organization, but you may not know exactly what her role at Carnegie is going to be or what services they can share with us. So that's what tonight's meeting is about. And I will hand it over to Mr. Moss to give us our principal's report. So we'll get started.
All right, I think I'm unmuted now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. First and foremost, let me give a great thanks to the PTO because today we had box lunches delivered and it was quite yummy. So thank you so much. We always look forward to the employee lunches. So thank you for everybody involved in that. I'll try to keep this pretty short. The first thing I want to talk about is HSD Connect Power School. Many of you are familiar with that term, or the parent portal. We have discovered that some, I can't say the majority, but some parents, not all parents, are a part of that. And we highly encourage both students, but especially parents, to also be a part of that. With this being our new system, which replaced grade speed, there's a lot of very important information, especially in regards to grades. And surprisingly, because it is new, we just learned recently that there is an app that is much more user-friendly than going on to the website. With the app, you can more readily view different components of grades, such as progress reports and report cards. The progress reports will be listed as P for progress reports. And so, for example, we are now approaching the end of cycle 2. So there are 2 sets of progress reports available. That's P1 and P2. P1 is after the first 3 weeks of cycle 1. And we just completed the first 3 weeks of cycle 2. So you can readily access progress reports using the app, as well as report cards, cycle report cards, which are listed as C for cycle. So for example, we have cycle 1 or C1 report card that is available already in the system. So once again, I want to highly encourage parents to access the app. And my understanding is that similar to grade speed, you can set triggers where you can be notified if a grade falls below a certain expectation a student or a parent has. I believe that you'll get a trigger for that. So on our school website, carnegievanguard.com, we have under the quick links section information in regards to HSD Connect Power School, the parent portal, and specifically the app. As a reminder, once students return, or actually, yes, once we return from Thanksgiving break, students have 1 week remaining for cycle 2, which ends on December the 4th. Cycle 3 is December 7th through January the 28th. I've already gotten some inquiries about fall finals, and of course, those happen at or close to the end of January. It appears that we're going to use Friday, January 22nd for the first couple of finals. And then we have Monday through Thursday, that last full week of January. However, one of those days is reserved for the sophomore PSAT. So of course, the College Board doesn't know the calendars for different districts, including HISD, that decided to put the end of the semester at the end of January. So it's College Board's assigned date for the sophomore PSAT or HSD selection of that date for the sophomores that unfortunately conflicts with fall finals. So that's why we're using Friday, January 22nd as our first final day. And then 3 of the days, Monday through Thursday, we will utilize for finals. And then Friday, January 29th is a teacher work day. So that's just looking ahead towards the future. Some of the concerns that I've heard from parents in regards to student performance and grading, I want to say that I think one of the reasons for some of the arising issues is that the 6-week grading cycles that all HISD schools have now is quite different from what we were accustomed to. So instead of having 9-week grading cycles, going to 6-week grading cycles, things are moving very fast and furious. And by the time a student realizes that the grading cycle is closed or closing, there's not a lot of time for the student to improve their grades, turning missing assignments, whatever they have to do in order to improve their grades. So that might be one variable in regards to student performance. I also want to say that students should effectively utilize the asynchronous time, which is approximately 60 minutes built into the class period, to work on the appropriate work, including the class that they're currently attending. Some of the issues that we're hearing from students is that they have flexibility with that time, but instead of concentrating on that particular class, they're multitasking, they're working on other content areas outside of the class that they're in, instead of maybe having that opportunity to inquire with the teacher about maybe something that they need clarity on, etc. Another change this year, of course, we have every day is block schedule. Last year, we had a modified schedule with 3 days traditional and only 2 days block. But this year, with every day being block schedule, there's one thing that I feared going into it, is that many times that brings on procrastination. So let me encourage students and parents, if you can help me with this, please ensure that your students are working on assignments that have been assigned that particular day so that the information is still fresh in their minds and their memories, and that they can complete that, and don't put it off until the next day or the next night when they're going to have class the very next day. And I think many times the teachers are seeing that students are coming to class not prepared. They haven't done the reading assignments or the homework. And so that kind of sets everything back as well. A positive thing about block schedule is that students have on one day only 3 classes, and on the other day they only have 4 classes. So that should provide the student enough time, given that 60 minutes asynchronous time for each class period, but also time throughout that evening to do homework on only 3 or 4 classes, as opposed to 7 classes if they were on a traditional schedule. I do want to say that, of course, we remain committed to meeting the academic needs as well as the social and emotional needs of students. And I definitely very much look forward to Ms. Reed's presentation to assist us more with social and emotional needs. If anyone has any questions regarding anything that I covered or any other topic that you'd like to raise, I am at your avail.
Mr. Moss, I have a question that is really asking you to address a rumor with virus cases going back. Is there anything that you can tell us about how the school district plans to respond to that?
Thank you for the question. That rumor was shared with me one day this week from teachers, and I don't have anything official coming from the district. But I did hear on the news that the teachers union did make the request of the HISD Board of Trustees today, sometime this afternoon, that they consider having students go 100% virtual the 3 weeks between the Thanksgiving break and Christmas break. I have not heard anything official from the superintendent or our district officials, so um, I can only say it's a rumor right now outside of what I've heard the Houston Federation of Teachers has presented today to our Board of Trustees. I can say this, that when we started cycle 2, about 10% of our student enrollment returned, and slowly that number has been decreasing. I suspect that with COVID numbers rising, so are anxieties. And I was told today we had somewhere maybe 30 students on campus. So we're probably at 4% of our student body, and maybe even less than that, maybe even closer to 3 as of right now. Um, I have not accessed the parent selection for cycle 3 just yet, but I'm hoping to go into the building sometime next week and review that information.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have questions for Mr. Moss?
I've got a question, Principal Moss. So, I mean, I know it's difficult right now given the current numbers in Harris County and how things are rising, but I do have students at other schools that have fairly high in-person attendance, and they're managing it fairly well. And you know, my son did try to come back in person, and it didn't go well. It was not a welcoming environment and not a good place to be. The teachers weren't really glad to see him. It felt kind of negative, and so he went back to virtual. So I do wonder if at Carnegie some of the low attendance rates is due to you know, the plan not really making it a conducive place to be to learn. And if the rates improve, is there any initiative or work to come up with a more welcoming plan to encourage students to come back to campus and learn in a more supportive environment?
So I really don't know what to say about your impression about us welcoming students, but the plan was intended to be very transparent with what students and parents can expect. Obviously, you didn't have that experience. But again, I think that there are a lot of anxieties. You may feel comfortable with your student coming to campus, but I can attest that I think our students have been very diligent actually inside the campus. But as I have gone out in the courtyard during lunchtime, and I'm sure students don't intentionally do this, but even after they eat, they're not putting their mask back on. They're not being socially distant. And so I think that probably contributes to maybe some of the employees or the adults' anxieties about, you know, my fear was like, it was going to be like herding cats. And unfortunately, you know, that's one of the things that I've noticed. So again, I know that students, I truly believe they're not intending to do that, but they need frequent reminders. And so that's what we've been trying to do. I don't see the plan changing that much, just to be honest with you. Of course, we want our students to have a quality education. And of course, with our pre-AP and AP classes, we have to present a very rigorous curriculum and instruction. But again, it looks like 96 to 97% of our entire student population is virtual now. So the teachers, the few that are in person on campus, are, you know, teaching into a laptop. So again, I'm not exactly sure what the expectations were for the students attending in person versus the ones that are virtual. Now, of course, we do have some students that need a more structured environment, and so we certainly welcome them to come to school. We also have some students that don't have reliable internet or Wi-Fi at home, and so of course, you know, we're open arms, but I don't see our plan changing very much for cycle 3.
Okay, thank you. Last question, just on the AP test. You know, in the in the spring of last year, the AP test format was changed at the last minute. And I know a couple of students that struggled with the new format because the teachers had not taught to that format. Are the teachers this year teaching to a new virtual AP test format so that the students will hopefully perform better?
Our Dean of Instruction, Melissa Matsu, is pretty much the AP coordinator and is working with the liaisons with College Board representatives. So she is awaiting additional information about the format for this year. With school being called off or going completely virtual pretty much after spring break last year or at spring break last year, I know there was a short turnaround time for College Board to decide how they were going to implement the AP test. But that plan is still in development, as I know. And as Ms. Matsu, or as I hear detailed information on that, we'll certainly get that out. But as of right now, I don't have an update about the change of format with College Board and AP test.
Is that a question, this is Susan Hawes jumping back in. Is that a question that Ms. Matsu might be able to address? Or right now, she's just waiting for information herself?
She is. And as we meet with teachers, I know that the most recent task was ensuring that all of our AP students were signed up for the corresponding or the appropriate AP test. So I think that's been finalized at this point. There was a certain deadline that we had to meet. So I'm sure that College Board is going to analyze that. And so we are still awaiting an update or additional information from College Board. I'm going to send Ms. Matsu an email. And so if she has heard anything that I'm not aware of, we'll certainly articulate that and broadcast that to our clients.
Okay. And I see two questions in the chat room. One about both about the PSAT. One about, will there be a PSAT retake for juniors in January? And the other, has the freshman PSAT that was canceled in October been rescheduled?
Okay, so I do believe there is a retest, but don't quote me on that. Mr. Garner is our guru surrounding PSAT. So I will have to inquire with him. I do know that the original test that's scheduled for sophomores, is at the end of January. And I want to say, yes, there's a retest for juniors. And I'm sorry, your second question?
The second question was, the freshman PSAT was canceled back in mid-October, I think. Has that been rescheduled?
I don't have that information. Let me also check with Mr. Garner on that for freshmen.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Does anybody else have a question? Did that bring up anything? Okay, well, I'll give my president's report, and that's quick. I want to thank everybody, every parent who donated for Thanksgiving baskets. I don't know if you saw on the school's official Facebook feed this afternoon, there are 5 gorgeous Thanksgiving baskets going home to 5 families from Carnegie today. We have a few community partners, lots of donations from the PTO, and I was really delighted to see on the Sign Up Genius names I didn't recognize. I love to see names I don't recognize because that's new parents getting involved and new volunteers. We also got some community help. HEB on Washington waived their buy one, get one free limit for the meat that PTO pays for. So we try to take advantage of a sale and spend that money wisely. And they allowed us to run the coupon as many times as we had items. And then Michael's on Wesleyan and Bissonnette donated baskets and bags for Christmas and for Thanksgiving as well. And I understand there were some other partners, but I do not have the details of what they donated. So those 2 businesses locally were generous to our school, and I want to highlight that. Our next meeting will be the evening, scheduled for the evening of January 21st. I'm sorry that the phone in my house has rung while I am talking. Our traditionally, the January PTO meeting is a panel of CVHS grads, our Rhino graduates who have just finished their freshman first semester of college. And they come back to talk about what they wish they had known, what they want freshmen to know, what they thought Carnegie prepared them for well, and every now and then something they maybe don't think they were so well prepared for. That's always a very popular meeting. We are planning on having it online, which is why it's scheduled for later in the month instead of right during winter break. Your freshmen are welcome to log on with you and listen and ask questions. And if you know any graduated seniors who would be willing to be part of the panel, we are taking applications for that panel right now. So that's what I have to report right now. I will pass the baton to Helen Gozali for the treasurer's report. Helen, are you there?
Sorry.
Okay, there you are.
Welcome, Rhino parents. This will be a short, I guess, status of the PTO financials. So let me share my screen. Okay. So our main revenue for the PTO is our Friends and Family campaign. And as of last weekend, we have reached $40,000, which is about 2/3 of our $60,000 budgeted. And we're only 20,000 away from our budget. And I want to remind everyone that our Friends and Family campaign is ongoing all through the school year. So whenever you want, you may donate at your leisure and at any amount that you feel comfortable. We welcome any dollar donation, large or small, and we really appreciate your support. And know that every dollar that you donate will go towards supporting the school, the teacher, the staff, as well as its community. So to date, our expenditures have been about $12,000, in which $2,000 was spent for the PTO operating expenses, towards insurance for the PTO and communication, newsletter, that sort of things. And the bulk of our expenditures have been on school-wide support, our teacher staff appreciation lunches, and Employee of the Month year award, the food drive events, which we just started this year for Thanksgiving, for Thanksgiving, as well as a school-wide newsletter for Ms. Matsu to send out. I think she sends it out bi-weekly. And the bulk of it are made up of teacher supplies as well as instructional support. So we've been seeing a lot of the teacher requests for webcams and a lot of computer accessories in order to teach efficiently virtually. So we're seeing them trickle in as the teacher needs the supplies, and we've been purchasing them through Amazon, as well as they buy and we reimburse them. And the main expenditure this year has been an annual subscription for virtual lab, which I know some of the teachers are already using for their science classes, and some books for our statistics 2, in which the teacher had requested. So as of today, about 80% of our expenditures have been for the school, and about 20%, less than 20% for the PTO. So that's about all I have. I will turn it back to Susan.
And if anybody is wondering about PTO expenses, insurance is a fairly common expenditure, small but regular for boards like ours. And what it basically is if I wipe out the PTO's checking account and run off to the Bahamas, the other officers cannot be sued based on the fact that they should have known something was wrong. That's essentially what that's about. Plus we have to have subscriptions for things like Constant Contact, that is the newsletter service. Running the website costs some money, and none of those expenses are very large, but they do add up and they tend to be front loaded towards the fall. Am I right about that, Helen? I see you nodding.
That's true.
Okay.
Those are annual
Good.
subscription in which we pay generally in the fall for the whole year.
Right. Okay, and so we'll move on to Georgie Silverman and the volunteers report.
Hi, everybody. If you don't know me, I'm Georgie, and I'm the Vice President of Volunteers. I think Susan did a good job on the Thanksgiving basket update. And we do a similar thing for Christmas. So start looking for the Sign Up Genius to come out to sign up to donate items. And I believe all the items can be just dropped off at the office, right? And
Yes, that's right.
That's right. Okay. We have started a new thing at the PTO. We want to get a parent representative from each class. And what this person would do is kind of coordinate class level activities that are both fun and also start raising funds, because senior year, those funds pay for a lot of things that the seniors, activities that the seniors like to do. And we have so far we've gotten a sophomore parent representative and a junior class parent representative, but we really need a freshman. Oh, well, we have a senior too. No, I'm sorry. Scratch everything I just said. I knew I was wrong, but we have a sophomore and a senior, and we need a freshman and a junior. I think the junior parent rep is particularly important because, you know, leading up into the senior year. So if you're interested in being that person and you get to come to all the executive PTO meetings, what more would you want to do than hang out with us more? So you can contact me. I have a volunteers@cvhspto.org if you are interested. Okay, the other thing is I got a couple of people on the committee for fundraising to plan events. And then we have to be clever about these events, but we are working on some fun activities and fundraisers for parents and family for the spring semester. So if you're interested in being part of that group of people that are planning these events, is it okay to throw out things or no? Susan?
I say sure.
Sure. Okay.
Yes, please.
One of them is we're going to have a drive-in movie night. And the other one is like at least a silent auction for the spring if we can't all gather in person. So we need help planning those. Also, Susan could use some help doing her donor breakfast, right, Susan?
Right.
So if you're interested in any kind of event planning or working on events, please contact me at volunteers@cvhspto.org. And I believe so far that's the volunteer positions that we are in need of. So I'm just gonna turn it back to Susan. Thank you.
Okay. And I will bounce it to, I'm just the MC here at this point. I will bounce it to Maria Calzada to talk about communications. And she's got a slideshow for you because she's the communications VP.
Hello. So can everyone hear me? Okay. Hi, my name is Maria, and I'm the VP for Communications and Membership. And just, I don't know if the PowerPoint is ready. It's just 5 slides. Don't be afraid. So I just wanted to invite everyone, if you haven't already signed up for the newsletter. That's the main way that I'm communicating with everyone, because that was everyone's preference that actually filled out the survey at the beginning of the year. First thing I want to do is thank Janice Yu, who very graciously stepped in to volunteer to be the webmaster. That is huge for me. And she just dove right in and has been fixing things and adding things, and it's been wonderful. So thank you so much to Janice. Janice also is, I had to pull up Georgie's database, the sophomore rep. And I think she's signed up for like 10 other things too. She just has dove in to do a bunch of things, which is fantastic. So if you need to get in touch with her for something for the website, you can do webmaster@cvhspto.org. And if you haven't been on the website, it has a lot of information there, and that's there for anyone to see. The newsletter, if you haven't seen it, that's how it starts. That was the last issue from this week. And there is a short link there for signing up, or if you go to the website, you can find a link to sign up for the emails. And try not to bombard people with emails. It's just once a week. Maybe it'll slow down to once every other week, but and then if there's something really important, we may send out a blast. But we really are trying to be respectful of the fact that we all get way too much email. If you have something that needs to go in the newsletter or needs to go on to any of the social media in general, if you could please submit it if it's going to be in the newsletter by Friday at midnight. I work, and so I do them on the weekend. So if you could submit it, submissions newsletter at cvhspto.org. If you can, please try to have it in a semi-complete fashion, the way you would like to see it. It doesn't have to be perfectly formatted. We use a program called Constant Contact, which gives me some options. So I can add some stuff to it, but basically, if you have a logo, if you have a link or anything like that, please go ahead and put it in there. And then if you submit it, assume that we will also try to push it out to the social media and the website. We can't guarantee it'll go out there. All of this is run by volunteers, so we do our best. Tagging on to what Helen was talking about on our fundraisers, this is a very easy way to raise funds for PTO and for the school. Everyone's making a lot of purchases right now. Amazon, if you have not added Amazon Smile to your app, it used to be that you would have to log on through a special link. You couldn't use the app. Now they've added it so that you can actually add it onto the app. So if you're not a user of Amazon, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you are, it used to be a little bit cumbersome to add this donation, but now you can add it. And apparently it does try to kick you off of it once or twice a year, so you have to resubmit. But basically, it's worth it. It just takes like 30 seconds to do. Make sure that the PTO is your recipient. And every single time we check out, it will show you how much you've raised for the PTO. So it's very satisfying. So it gives you a little bit of satisfaction to your consumerism. And happy Friday. This little banner over here on the side is just a reminder that all of the Black Friday deals are also being directed towards all of these Amazon Smile accounts. And this just goes through some of the description on how to do it. So if someone needs help on how to do it or can't figure it out, email me or Helen or whoever. We'll be happy to help you get it set up. It's worth it. And then finally, there's lots of ways to stay connected. If you don't do Facebook, we're on Twitter. If you don't do Twitter, we're on Instagram. If you don't do Instagram, we're trying to be better about YouTube, but we do have a YouTube channel. And that takes me to my other volunteer, Aparna, and I'm gonna, Jatwani, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. She has also been a volunteer who is our Gates volunteer, our Gates representative. I think she's also maybe a grade volunteer. I don't know, she also volunteers for 10 different things and has graciously volunteered to be the social media representative. So thank you. And anyone else who would like to help out, we have a few jobs that still need to be done. So this is just a smattering of the things that we have going on. We have a lot of parents that have signed up and on their own and done grade by grade Facebook pages. So check those out. That's it, I think.
There we go. I tried to unmute myself and brought up the control panel instead. So sorry about that. Thank you very much, Maria. All right. I think it is time to turn the floor over to Ms. Reed so she can tell us about CIS and introduce herself. And we're looking forward to hearing about your work. And thank you for coming tonight.
Hi, Ms. Halls. Hi, Rhino parents. Thank you to Ms. Halls and the board for inviting me to come talk with you. My name is Miss Reed, Elizabeth Reed. I am the Student Support Manager with Communities and Schools of Houston at Carnegie Vanguard High School. So let me pull up a presentation to share with you. So I have this presentation prepared for you, and if time permits, and if you're interested, I also have a resource sheet that will give you a little bit more of a glimpse of some of the things that I do day to day. And if you like, and if we have time, I could even do a quick relaxation exercise with you guys. I know that the students aren't the only ones who need it. It's my guess. So this is a difficult time we're living through. So as I said, I work for Communities and Schools of Houston. I'm exclusively at the campus of Carnegie Vanguard High School. This is a summer vacation picture, and I have I'm licensed. I have a master's degree in social work, and I'm licensed. And my office is in room 132B on the first floor. And of course, I'm doing much of my work virtually. Usually over the phone, I find, but sometimes over Teams. Let me minimize this. There. So Communities in Schools is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that partners with schools, colleges, or independent school districts, primarily low socioeconomic status community or Title I schools, for the purpose of addressing the barriers to success, academic and non-academic needs faced by students and or their families within the campus community. The mission of Communities and Schools of Houston is to surround students with a community of support, empowering them to stay in school and achieve in life. This is an evidence-based program model, and we start with a needs assessment. We provide coordinated student support. We work with a number of community partners to facilitate service delivery and make sure people have access to all the great things in our community. Obviously, we're integrated within the schools, and we also track our data to measure and improve our performance. So this is a visual of the campus service delivery. So, oops, I didn't mean to do that. So like I said, it starts with a needs assessment at number one. That's like a 20-question survey. My teacher answers my questions in class. I sleep well at night. I have someone who cares about me. All of that range of type of questions. I'm a member of a club or a sports team. Then from there, after the needs assessment, and we'll also, we can do an assessment with the teachers too, asking the teacher how the student is performing in class and gather information further in that way. And then once we gather that data and have met with the student, sometimes we've had a conversation with the parent at this point, then we start to plan what services would be beneficial. Is it mainly going to be focused on academics? Is it, and just like, you know, performing better, or is it more of a social emotional need? And then we provide integrated student supports. So there's 3 tiers of services. Some of my services address the school as a whole. That's tier 1. And then we have tier 2, targeted programs and groups. And tier 3 is individualized support. So we continue to monitor and adjust, and at the end of the year, we close up with that same assessment survey as part of our evaluation process to measure change. Communities and Schools of Houston believes that every child needs and deserves a one-on-one relationship with a caring adult, a safe place to learn and grow, a healthy start and a healthy future, a marketable skill to use upon graduation, and a chance to give back to peers and community. Why? Because we believe in the power of relationships. CIS provides on-campus integrated student supports that empower students to succeed in school and achieve in life. So one way I've described my services, of course, I have my training. I got my master's degree from New York University. As an undergraduate, I went to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, but I like to think of myself as a friendly face. So I should be a friendly face on campus or over the phone, and somebody that cheers students on and sort of acts like that cheerleader. They get to talk about their academics or their mood if that's what's been going on. Our model. We provide, as I mentioned, the 3 tiers of on-campus integrated student supports, and we provide our 6 core services. So we provide supportive guidance and counseling, academic support, health and human services referrals. If I thought somebody needed to see a therapist, I would make a recommendation of where a parent could find therapy services in the community, college and career readiness support, and really that I am, my college advising is secondary to the school counselors, Mr. Frau and Ms. Chapman, but that is one of the 6 services, and enrichment activities. And so, yep, more of that to come. So we do large group efforts. Tier 1 is large group efforts focused on prevention, awareness, and asset building services within the campus community. So what, based on a campus-wide needs assessment, what I have decided to do in collaboration with the school's leadership, of course, is to publish, especially now that so many are virtual, material for either for the advocacy period or to go in school newsletters that will reach the whole student body. We just did one on relaxation exercises, one of which we might get to try. Another one was like on, you know, if you're studying and you need more energy, how do you get more energy? If you're studying and you need less energy, how do you get less energy? So sort of that modulation of how you're performing while you have this large amount of work to do. Tier 2 is targeted programs, and so we're working on getting a stress management support group together. And tier 3 is individualized support. So these can be walk-in services and case management intervention. So I'll end up working with students throughout the year on an individual basis. The frequency of that is like a couple of times a month over a period of 3 months, and it can be more intensive than that depending on the student's need. And again, these are services designed to meet the basic emergency or crisis needs of the student and or their families in the campus community. We really focus on students with multiple risk factors who may benefit from ongoing multi-level support to address academic and non-academic barriers to success in school and in life. And of course, this year the criteria are quite broad because we are going through a pandemic, a global pandemic. So CIS is a Texas Education Agency contracted organization, and these are some of the at-risk indicators beyond everyone qualifies because we're in a pandemic, but we would normally look for some barriers to success: free and reduced lunch, failed 2 or more classes, failed to advance to the next grade level, received unsatisfactory scores on assessment tests, have limited English proficiency, English language learner, are pregnant or parenting, have foundation skills, 2 or more years behind their grade, and students who have previously dropped out of school. All services are in relation and provided to each student and their family with consent for service, they're tracked and recorded to meet reporting requirements of the Texas Education Agency. So the target for improvement across all of these domains is 85% or above: academics, attendance, behavior, social service needs, promotion, persistence in school, stay in school, and graduation. In years past, 2017 to 2018, you can see our performance and the stayed in school grades 7 through 12. And this is, I think, across Houston. 99%, 96, and 95% at promoted to the next grade level, 98% at improvement in academics, attendance, and/or behavior, 92 and 97% of eligible seniors graduated. So of course, this program looks different and it's implemented in a different way from school to school, and that implementation is based on a needs assessment of the school at the beginning of the year. So as I mentioned, the 6 core services include supportive guidance and counseling, academic support, health and human services referrals, college and career readiness support, parent and family engagement, and/or enrichment activities. So, and how does the breakdown of those services, that service provision, what does that really look like? The large blue wedge is supportive guidance and counseling. So that is where most of our services are. The next largest wedge is health and human services referrals, referrals to therapy, for instance, or to other organizations. And parent and family involvement and enrichment activities. Academic support looks like that's quite a large dark blue wedge as well. Partnerships. This is one thing that makes communities and schools special, along with a number of other things. So communities and schools collaborates with social service agencies, local businesses, and healthcare providers in the community to generate meaningful interventions for students who are most at risk, whether this child needs mental health counseling, school supplies, or a safe place to live. CIS is here to help. We maintain strategic partnerships, for example, with the Houston Food Bank, Christ Church Cathedral, the Houston Bar Association, Houston Methodist Hospital, Chi St. Luke's Health, and 300 other organizations. So a few of those, the Houston Bar Association, Houston Methodist, and St. Luke's, we have partnerships with them that offer juniors internships in the legal profession and seniors internships in the nursing profession. Christ Church often gets involved in helping families to pay rent or pay for light or water bills, gas bills. And so those are some examples of the partnerships that we bring to campus. So what types of concerns might make you want to think of connecting with communities and schools for services? So student grades, of course, any attendance issues, emotional issues, disruptive behavior, social challenges, health problems, disciplinary system involvement, financial problems, legal problems, need for skills enhancement, or need for enrichment. So what's going on right now? I think students are having, the academic challenges of adjusting to freshman year, for example, might be challenging in a normal year, and now students are having to adjust to virtual learning. And so that might be a way that I come in. I'm asking, are you still connecting with your peers? What homework assignments do you have coming up? And just reinforcing that. I loved what Mr. Moss was mentioning about using the asynchronous time earlier in today's presentation. So that's the sort of thing that I can take and reinforce with students. And then I think it's hard. Students are used to being with peers and in their schools and with their teachers. And I think it's hard. Our families are a great source of love and support for students. And sometimes it's just a little unbalanced if that's become the primary social connection due to the pandemic. So I encourage, can you throw a study party and get your friends together so that you can sort of reconnect with your peers? Communities and Schools of Houston services are voluntary, and informed consent allows students and families to choose regarding what they may choose to discuss with CIS. CIS works to ensure the information shared remains confidential. However, there are a few situations where I would be required by law to break confidentiality and seek outside help. Basically, safety is more important than confidentiality in the instances of a student might be a danger to himself or herself, a student might be a danger to someone else, or a student reports having been hurt by someone else. And of course, I have to report concerns about abuse, neglect, or exploitation to Child Protective Services. So any one of you can recommend a student, a teacher can recommend a student, administration can recommend a student, parents can recommend students, peers can recommend students, and students can self-refer. So you can reach me, the best way to reach me right now is over email or by phone. I've been using the school's main number, although I might have another phone number soon, but for now, reach me through the direct number of the school, 713-732-3690, and you can ask for Ms. Reed. And since the call goes to the front desk, it's probably easiest to reach me there during school hours. But you can always send me an email and we can set up another time to talk, ereed@cis-houston.org. So how much time, how are we doing on time? We have 9 minutes. I did want to ask, if you did have questions, I'll put my email back up on the screen. If you did have questions, I wanted to ask that you send questions related to this presentation to me individually for me to address. So you can have my email again, ereed@cis-houston.org. And I think I will go ahead and pull up. Okay, can you see this resources page now on the screen? Someone nod.
I'm still seeing the slideshow.
Oh, okay. I'll
Oh,
try
I see
again.
how to utilize CIS services.
Let me try again. Thank you for that. Oh, maybe I don't know how to do it. Okay. I'm not seeing it as an option, so in that case, I will shift to a relaxation exercise if that sounds good. But if anybody's interested in resources like a long list of mental health resources about how to get financial assistance during the pandemic, or resources about where to find food, please do send me an email, ereed@cis-houston.org, and I'd be happy to respond with that list of resources. And now
You want to try putting it up one more time, or do you want to just go on? I clicked a setting and maybe it will show now.
Oh, did I close it? I can try again, but just bear with me. Oh. Okay, so I gave you the big overview. I talked about tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 services, but here's an example of a list of resources I've prepared for students and families. So we have a page of mental health resources. There are more mental health needs than usual. We're in the middle of a pandemic and social isolation has been challenging for a number of people. That's normal and totally understandable. So routine mental health services, Family Houston, Legacy Community Health, El Centro de Corazon, the Harris Center for Mental Health and IDD, DePelchin, Catholic Charities, Jewish Family Service. Those are just a few of the community options that are out there. Crisis mental health services, there's a list of places to get crisis mental health help. Bo's Place is a wonderful program for grief support. Additional support, Texas has a COVID mental health support line. And then for support groups, there's the Remind Depression and Bipolar support, including, I think they have family support, but I know NAMI, National Alliance for Mental Illness, does have family support groups. And then food resources during this time. Of course, Houston Food Bank, HISD has twice weekly curbside meal pickup. You can just go to the HISD blog if you're interested in learning about the food resources there, and search food distribution and you'll get the latest. Catholic Charities also has food distribution. Financial assistance, Memorial Assistance Ministries has been entrusted to distribute $3,500 per family if someone in the household died from COVID. There is a Texas electricity relief program. Baker Ripley can help with electricity and gas bills. Here's some other rent and utility assistance providers. One resource that I really like, if you're looking for financial coaching during this time, Family Houston has free financial coaching available if this has become a hard time for you. And then you can always call United Way 211 and request assistance if I didn't list one of your needs here. And would you guys like to try a relaxation exercise, or should I turn the floor back to you, or Ms. Hawes, what do you think?
Well, let's see. What I'm seeing is lots of blanks, like, sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit. Everybody, could you write something in the chat if you would like to do the relaxation exercise? Because I can't see anybody's actual face.
It'll just be, it's 5 deep breaths, but it's kind of a nice way to do it.
Well, then let's go with that. I see a relaxation, please. Let's go with that.
Okay, so put your left hand down on your lap. Now take the pointer finger of your right hand and put it at the base of your left pinky. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take 5 deep breaths, and as we take the deep breaths, we're gonna trace our left hand with our right pointer finger. And you wanna watch your hand as you go and just try and enjoy this. First, before we start, notice your body, notice your head, notice your throat, notice your stomach. Are you carrying any tension in your body? How are your shoulders? All right, and then we'll check how we're doing afterwards. Here we go. So take a deep inhale, tracing your pointer finger up the side of your pinky finger. Exhale down the inside of your pinky finger. Inhale up your ring finger. Exhale, tracing down your ring finger. Inhale, tracing up your middle finger. Exhale, down your middle finger. Inhale up your pointer finger. You have lungs above your collarbone. See if you can fill those up. Deep inhale. Exhale down your pointer finger. Inhale up your thumb. Exhale down your thumb. That's it. So notice how you're feeling now. I always feel better when I do it. Remember to take good care of yourself. This is a difficult time. Your quality time with your kids means a lot to them. So, yep, that's it. Nice to meet you.
Ms. Reed, thank you very much for being here tonight. We got a question in the chat about whether you could post some of your resources to the school website. Is that something that you might be able to do?
I think so. I can put them, I think so. I might have to double check, but I could put them on, there's a page for communities and schools, and I could probably share them if you want to put them on the PTO's page too. I don't see why we can't do that.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, I see folks starting to sign off, and it is right at 8 o'clock right now. Does anybody have something? You can put it in the chat if you have something else that you wanted to ask or something that you wanted to bring up.
There was a question about social interactions, social
Yes.
development.
Thank you. Is there anything that might be done, because the kids are isolated, and I do remember reading that, thank you, Maria, that parents were concerned about, especially the younger students whose maybe ties with their peers aren't as strong, or very social kids who are lonely at home. What are some recommendations that might be made for them? And what can we as parents do to help?
I don't know all the answers, I have to be honest. I think that that is a real challenge. I've heard some parents have allowed, and this goes again, I don't want to advise, that's like a CDC question, like how much should you allow your kids to socialize? But I've heard some parents do have like an identified peer group for their kid, and they allow their kid to hang out with that peer group. There are obviously social benefits to that and a COVID risk. So I can't really make that call for you. I think kids need to be reminded to reach out to their friends. I heard you guys are talking about doing a drive-in movie night. I think that sounds like a really good idea. I was thinking of calling the stress management support group is what I can do at that level, but I've been thinking about calling it, and I need to get it going, but I've been thinking about calling it a party, a study party. I mean, it's because I do think that the kids are needing some structure to help them socialize. I see that as well. So if you have other ideas or thoughts, I would welcome that input. You could send me an email at eread@cis-houston.org. I don't know if you have other ideas. It's a group conversation. I think it needs to be.
Right.
I think Aparna has volunteered to be the freshman parent during the course of this meeting. Late breaking news.
Thank you.
But also, she just mentioned that she really wanted to get a virtual social going for the freshmen in class. So I just want, the PTO has a Zoom account now, and Susan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that would be a way to get these grade level socials going, and we could put the parent reps in charge of organizing those. And if they wanted to be a little smaller, they could do breakout rooms. But also we could think of some fun ways virtually to bring them together. I know they have like virtual escape rooms and virtual card games. There's ways to plan virtual socials, and maybe we can discuss that further. But I think it would be great to reach out to the grade level reps to get those going at the different grade levels.
Yes, I think that is the PTO as a whole, your donations help pay for that Zoom account, and I think that's a great way to use it. Okay, is there anything else? If everybody could look over, well, I'll just read it. From iPhone, which is always Mr. Moss, College Board has not yet released information about the final format of AP tests. There will be a to be determined retest date for the juniors and a to be determined test window for the freshmen, but those dates are not yet known. I think too that some of the questions about socializing and how we help our kids with loneliness, that is also possibly something that we can discuss, since we can't get together either, really. That might be a possible topic for the Facebook page, the Facebook feed. Well, are we done then? Okay, I see Georgie smiling and Michelle smiling, so I think we're done. Everybody, thank you very much for coming tonight. Ms. Reed, thank you for your presentation and the exercise and for helping us understand better what you do. Have a good night, everybody. Wear your masks, stay safe. Happy Thanksgiving.
Everyone, thank you for being here.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.